This is BlackWoman CEO. Welcome to the only podcast dedicated to giving you the raw and real experiences of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Yes, girl, we're talking about the behind-the-scenes strategies of what it takes to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. I am your host, Quanisha Green, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. Hey there, this is Quanisha Green, founder of BlackWoman CEO. Excited to come to you with part 3 of our Grow Your Business series, where today we are talking about how to grow your influence. In general, we've been talking about how to grow your business, how to increase your impact, which is part 1. Part 2 is how to increase your income. And then today we're talking about how to increase your influence. And when you think about the word influence, what comes to mind? So you can go ahead and go to BlackWomanCEOLive.com, where you can see all the specifics around that, as well as praise for Meant for More, and go ahead and get signed up for the next session. As of this recording, it is August 3rd, but we do these about every 2 months. So still go over so that you can see when the next date is so that you can get that good training. Now, why is it important that we even talk about this whole growing your business, increasing your impact, income, and influence? If you don't know this, on average, Black women-owned businesses, according to the last report that was commissioned by American Express in 2019, the state of Black women-owned businesses, on average in the United States, our average gross revenue is $24,000 a year. Now, the disparity I want to explain, because when you order it by race, when you order your average gross income by gender, and then even the combined race and gender, we are at the bottom. And I hear BlackWoman CEO, yes, we want to acknowledge that there are macro issues like bias, wage inequality, all these things, lack of diverse network, right? The research shows a couple of different things that impacts capital and generating revenue. But one thing that we often don't see, it's mentioned every now and then, but not heavily, is that we don't mention often the self-biases that get in the way of us actually excelling and exceeding in business. And some of those self-biases can be fear, overwhelm, wondering if you're good enough, wondering if people are going to pay you that much. And that stops you from showing up powerfully as the genius that you are, or some of you are generating really good, consistent revenue. It may be stopping you from asking that much or going to that next level or creating that new service that you really feel passionate about or wanting to change the trajectory of your work. So a lot of times that's what we work on here at BlackWoman CEO. We combine research, right, with proven strategies, and then culturally relevant coaching and training, particular to Black women in our unique walk. Who am I? You may be like, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Well, I am known as the confidence strategist for Black women entrepreneurs around the globe and the founder of BlackWoman CEO, which, like I just said, is the only business dedicated to Black women in research and proven strategies to help you all grow in your earning power and specifically get high-end clients, right? Because we want you to get paid top dollar. And I'm really excited because in 2020, we turned 5 this year. So I guess we hit 5. We're going into 6. And we have touched over 20,000 women through our paid and free work. And particularly our free work, we've had close to 400 customers, with about close to 75 of those being high-level clients, right? People who have invested in our private coaching and our mastermind and helping them to do that work. And I'm so proud of the work they do. So that's why I wanted to always shout them out and our progress in that area. So that's a little bit about us in a nutshell. And I won't go all into the ins and outs because, like I said, I truly want to jump into the content here. So once again, if you want to do a deeper dive into the series, go ahead and come into Meant for More, where we're going to talk about how to go ahead and increase its income, your impact, and influence, but with more how-to worksheets, all these things that we do. We have a 25-page action guide at BlackWomanCEOLive.com. What do you think about influence? What does that mean to you? How do you define it? And so at least Webster's dictionary defines influence as the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, all the effect in itself. And one aspect of influencing that I really like to tap into is the Clifton Strength Finders, where they have these influencing domains. Let me know if you ever took the Strength Finders exam or Clifton. And so we hopefully all know our strength finders in that way. But most of my strengths are in this influencing domain. And here are some of the things that they said around the influencing domain. These are people who are exceptionally talented in the command theme. They have presence, right? So that's one impact of influencing. They have a presence. They are good conversationalists and presenters. They focus on the strengths and ways to stimulate personal and group excellence. People strong in that domain seek to transform something strong into something superb. People exceptionally talented in the significance theme that's under influence want to make a big impact. They're independent and prioritize projects based on how much influence they will have on their organization or people around them. So, of course, these definitions kind of show not just in business, but how you're interacting with people. But I wanted to pull some of that out because Clifton's talking about how people who are sort of influencers, right, and not just, social media influencers, what are some of the qualities that they have? And here's the thing. You can develop a strength. It's not just inherent thing. It's a skill. Influence is a skill that you can develop or over time. And yes, there's a charismatic people who just come with it already, right? But it's something that you can hone. And particularly when we think about influence in our business, I want you to start thinking about it at the root as connection. Our influence can be, when we're looking to increase it, is how are we connecting with people on a deeper level? And here's why. So there's a pivotal buying factor that people need, and you may have heard me talk about this, to make a buying decision is a like, know, and trust factor. And the way that is developed is through connecting with people, them getting to know you, engaging them, and then relating to them in that way. So ideally, when we want more influence, particularly when we're thinking about how to grow our business, we have to think about almost how are we touching more human beings in a relatively human way? Because as Wallace D. Wallace says in The Science of Getting Rich, our riches come through people. So we have to learn how to connect with people on a deep level in that sense. And so today I want to share 3 ways that you can really dig deep into this influence part, using it to grow your business, right? Or to build stronger connections with your audience and your potential clients. Connection, I just want to say, is at the foundation. So technically that's not number 1. It's kind of like the foundation of the house is connection. But one way that you can connect is to have presence in order to increase your influence. And here's how that works. When people think about people to follow, right? When people think about people to listen to, when people think about people who opinions that they care about or that they want to even implement or consider what they say, these folks have presence. And once again, it's not about what you're wearing Gucci this or your hair done, right? And of course, people judge us by those things. So I'm not being, not considering it. But the presence I want you to think about is, what are you standing for? What are you standing for? And that is about getting clear on your values. What is it that you value? What are you here to do? Because there are 2 primary roles of a CEO: vision and drive revenue. So are you clear on your vision? Right? Here's the thing. When you're standing for something or you're standing against something. So in one way to have presence is to sort of like, hey, let's pick a fight. Like, what are you unapologetically standing for? Because guess what? There are going to be people who resonate with that. And then the more you share that, which we'll talk about bragging and amplifying in a bit, the more you share that, the more you will attract people who stand for the same. And so why having a niche is important, and you may have heard that as like, hey, have influence over these small group of people. This truly gets into your presence as in the sense of having a worldview. Having a worldview. For example, if you were a writer, one thing you could stand for is that writers, I'm here to support writers who are not just here to write books, but who are here to write to transform the world or tell the stories of humanity. That could be a worldview of writing, right? And everyone that hears that, you standing for that, hey, writing is not just for school, it's for actually transforming lives or highlighting humanity, right? Whatever value system that you have around that, there are going to be people who connect and resonate with that. And then you have influence over them. In a way, you become their leader. So one way to have presence is to really get clear on your values. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And if you had to pick a fight about something, or what do you usually pick a fight about? That is usually where your story is. And that's going to help you connect with those who get you, connect with those who will be ready to buy from you, because we got to build that like, know, and trust factor. So with this, another way to increase your influence, particularly when it comes to business, is that you have to learn how to actually showcase your expertise. Showcase your expertise, right? So we know you have these values. We know you stand for something. You have a worldview. You have this mindset. Maybe you even have presence in the way that, hey, I think we need to even attack this idea differently. Like, think about someone like Steve Jobs. She's like, let's put the music in somebody's pocket that they carry around with. So you may even have an idea on like, here's how we need to even transition an industry, or how we need to look at things. But then the second part of increasing your influence is that you're going to have to showcase this expertise. So part of that building like, know, and trust factor is people can't build that relationship and connect with you if you're in your home being a secret entrepreneur and nobody knows what you do, or only a few people, and then they refer you and refer you. So you have to get comfortable showcasing your expertise. And you showcase that. I want you to get into this idea of broadcasting your brilliance, AKA bragging. And I use that word bragging because it's so charged, but I want you to brag for influence, because people need evidence. They need concrete evidence of the results and the outcomes that you get. They need clear evidence of your thought processes. They need to hear you. So writing an article, showing up on social media, sharing a case study, sharing your knowledge, taking screenshots of what other people say about you, sharing the logo of what you do, sharing the results and the impact of your work, the numbers that you've helped increase, the number of people that you have touched. All of those things, as much as you can quantify them or show actual examples of them, work to showcase your expertise, and in a way builds what many of us know in the traditional career space, a brag book. And that serves to build social proof of what you do. And it increases your influence because, once again, here's a body of evidence now, right? Credibility, right? In that person's mind that helps them to trust that you know what you're talking about. And when we make efforts to keep doing that, we increase our influence. So for some of you, it may not be a matter of, oh, let me go out and go do more stuff. It may be go back to your current clients and get some testimonials, or do a video with them around, hey, what was the impact of our work? Or go back and start quantifying stuff. Hey, when I joined or when I started my company, how much revenue did I make? Or what increased when I actually started to implement these transformations? What are people doing now? So I want you to start bragging. And here's one way to think about this in a way that may be less charged of a word, is that it is your job to promote yourself. Target shows up every day in our inbox. McDonald's, I get messages every day from Macy, Third Love, all to Avis, all of these other places. And so their goal is to stay top of mind. So here you are with something that transformed the world, that has value, that supports people at a deeper level, but you're not promoting yourself. So if McDonald's can do it, why not you? So one way to increase your influence is that more people need to know about it. And you have to be okay with showcasing it, not just keeping it in a little book, pushing it on social media, pushing it, writing articles, putting it on your website. So more and more people get a sense of the work that you do, and it attracts opportunities. I do this all the time. I show screenshots of I was at Brimwire doing a web workshop. Here you go. Hey, I was at the city of Philadelphia. Hey, I'm traveling to Europe. Hey, let me take your screenshot. My client just closed a 5-figure deal. But here's what happens. I get messages after that saying like, oh my gosh, that was so helpful. Would you consider coming here? Or, hey, Quanisha, when I thought about starting a business, you were the first person that came to mind. Or, hey, Quanisha, you're everywhere. We are hiring for this, and you were the first person that I thought of. It's because I keep sharing, right? So if you want to increase your influence and get actually more opportunities coming your way, you have to start to brag, right? Which is showcasing your expertise. So number one was have a presence, right? You got to stand for something. Number two is that you have to begin to showcase your expertise. And I shared a number of ways, right? Sharing your wins, sharing your knowledge, sharing your testimonials, case studies, all these other things. And the other way to increase your influence is to tell your story. Hey sis, are you struggling to attract clients in your business? And the way this may be showing up is that you feel like your income is stalling, or you're not generating as much revenue as you can because you're wondering if people will pay you that much for your services. So here's the thing. You may be making this number one mistake that is a roadblock, really, to you generating consistent clients. And that mistake is that you can be seeing this as an issue or a challenge that's about business systems or simply strategy. And here's the thing. That may not be it. There may be some underlying reasons common to us Black women as to why you aren't achieving your desired results. And so that's why in this online workshop, it's a week-long workshop called Meant for More, I will be teaching you the crucial steps to attract consistent clients no matter the time, right? In both good and bad times. You know, these are strategies that I personally learned and implemented as a result of years of studying business and Black women, specifically our unique leadership challenges and strengths. And yes, these have worked for others too. So I'm sharing the exact framework I use to train and coach my clients. And during the Meant for More workshop, which is a week-long experience, we'll have live Q&A coaching time so that you can receive customized feedback on your most pressing questions. And so while the goal is to help you find clients now, the real crux of this workshop is to help you to increase in your profit, power, and purpose. It's not just about money. It's really about you tapping into the more, right? That more that you want for your life. And here's what Lucretia said about the Meant for More workshop. So it's Lucretia Dangerfield. She has a doctorate in education and also a licensed mental health counselor. And she says, I have been following Quanisha for a few years, and I can say that the Meant for More live workshop was thebomb.com. This is the first time that I've completed a week-long training to make sure I didn't miss anything. From the action guide to the practical teaching, I walked away more empowered and ready to grow my business. So you know if it's time to grow your business, I want you to go ahead and sign up for this live workshop. You can go to www.BlackWomanCEOLive.com to learn the full details of what we're covering over the week through 5 live lessons. And actually, I'm going to share them with you now. So one, you're going to learn the 5 must-haves to find clients now. Then you're going to learn 5 powerful mindsets for more clients and cash. You're going to learn the fastest and simplest path to cash and clients. Then I'm going to teach you how to build a premium offer that's exactly what high-end clients need and want and therefore will buy. And lastly, you're going to learn how to talk so high-end clients will invest. So when you go to BlackWomanCEOLive.com, you'll also see praise for the Meant for More workshop from more of our CEO sisters who have really benefited from this, you can say, experience, right? And so I want to invite you to come. It is at no cost. So, I'm taking on the cost. And this is really about me helping you to stop self-sabotaging and also, once again, uncover the deeper reasons that may be impacting your profits, your cash flow, and actually earning what you deserve when it comes to your business and getting on path to living your ultimate desired life. So I can't wait to see you in the Meant for More workshop. The other way to increase your influence is to tell your story. This is a little different from the worldview and knowing your values, is because people want to connect with real human beings. And for many of us who are the solopreneurs or the face of our brands, your story matters. One, it influences how you think about yourself and what you do. When we talk about building that like, know, and trust factor, people become connected with you in that sense. They find out what motivates you. They find out why that was your particular take on it, right? So we have to become comfortable with not only just having a presence in the sense of, telling people what we do and what we stand for, but also in tapping into that deeper need of hearing a story. People love stories. Think about since the dawn of time. We have been telling stories, oral stories, all types of things. So the other part of increasing your influence is actually you showing up in your own as a thought leader and sharing your story, what influences you, your perceptions of the world, because that allows people to get to know you and build a connection with you as the brand. No one is really saying, oh, here's the Michelin Man for tires. Can't wait to hire him. No, right? But one thing we may say is, oh, look at Oprah. Oprah told her story of this. Oprah sharing her story of when she went on a retreat. Oprah sharing her story of weight loss. And we get endeared. It endears people to us. So not only are they looking at you as like a company to buy, they see you as a friend. They see you as someone they can trust. They see you as a confidant, right? So once again, if we go back to this definition of influence as having an effect on the character, development, behavior of someone or something, to have presence over them, to help them to stimulate personal and group elements, what better way than to share your own story around that? And I love something that Gary Vee says, you won't always hear me quote him. He often talks about documenting the process. So some of us don't show up and share our expertise because we think it has to be picture perfect. But often people want to see your process. So say you're a maker, say you're someone that you make quilts or something like that. And you keep thinking, oh, I just got to show the finished product of my quilts. No, show us you picking out the cloth. That's part of your story. Show us what you consider when you're considering who to work with or what organizations. Show us what your workspace looks like, right? And what music motivates you. So it's not just telling the cleaned up story or the rag to riches story. It's the story of who you are in this moment and how you're living out this experience. And in all of this connecting and in all the things that we're talking about, I want to give you a fourth thing to increase your influence is actually doing all of these things consistently. So consistently checking in with yourself. When we talked about number one, having presence, standing for something, knowing your value, that's a growth thing. You have to consistently be doing that so that then you can connect with others. You have to be consistently bragging, right? Sharing that social proof, your knowledge, case studies, blog posts, all these other things, right? As a means of connecting, because you're connecting, engaging with your ideal audience, but you got to do that consistently so that you stay top of mind for people. And once again, it builds a relationship. If you were dating someone and they disappeared, what would you think? Oh, that person's not interested or they're not reliable. Or the question may be like, is she even in this for the long haul? Is this business going to be around if I get a contract with her? So consistently, and then you consistently showing up as a person, sharing your development, who you are, and allowing people to actually build a relationship with you, AKA in your brand, but seeing you as you grow, as you struggle, and you're sharing these very different aspects of your story, actually facilitating the work that you do. Growing as a person. Who were you then when you started this business and who are you now? And there's so many examples, and I can't share them all right now, of, some of my clients who did this. One person that comes to mind is Erica Totten. So Erica, she used to be the head of Black Lives Matter DC, and she started to work together because actually she wanted to have more influence. She was like, I know all these people, but my presence. So we worked on her presence. But one thing we started to do for her to connect consistently was to actually start bragging in a way by sharing her knowledge. So Erica started a weekly show to Live Unchained. And since November, now it's July. So it's been like 7 months. She's been doing the show every single week. And then this led to people getting to know her on a deeper level, even her existing network. She's gotten contracts from that. But one of the great things that happen when we talk about influence and then the opportunities that come is that Essence Magazine, when the whole COVID situation started, they highlighted her as someone to connect with for wellness during this coronavirus time. An Essence platform, hundreds of thousands of people. So when we start doing these things consistently, we attract opportunities, we attract clients, but you have to be committed to it. So if you want to impact more people, if you want to see people change in their lives, if you want to address behaviors, getting people to start thinking differently, developing, even honing in on your own presentation skill, right? Show up and show up consistently. And those are the 3 ways that you do it. And I have some other examples I had here, like another client from doing this work. She increased her influence by showing up consistently, sharing her story. She got invited by LinkedIn to be one of the virtual presenters, once again, during COVID, right? Another one, Roberta, who's an attorney that helps other people with bar exams. She was showing up consistently, sharing her knowledge, telling her story, particularly her point of view, right? Standing for something when it comes to how lawyers need to tap into their spirituality. And she got invited to write an article and place an ad. They comped her a full page ad in the Christian Legal Lawyers magazine, right? Which has a reach of like 40,000 people. So I can go over example. Like even when I started to do this, I got invited to be a writer for Harriet. I got invited to be a program director for Happy BlackWoman, which at the time had like 1 million people on their platform. It actually helped me to kick off BlackWoman CEO because of the work I was doing with my mastermind sisters there. So I can go into example. But the key part of this, increasing your influence, is having your mindset towards connecting, engaging, and relating to people. And on the business side, that helps to build this pivotal like, know, and trust factor. And we don't just follow anybody. Think about the celebrities you follow. They probably are like quirky, right? And quirky in the sense of everyone's unique. So that's why you have to have presence. So you got to one, like I said, get clear on what you stand for, understand your values, pick a fight, right? And be unapologetic about it. Number 2 is showcase that expertise, brag, or if you need a better way to say this, broadcast your brilliance. Share what you do, share where you've been, share those case studies, share your knowledge by writing an article, pitch your work, show up on those podcasts, right? Let us know what you do. Show us those credentials. All those awesome things about you. So, right, you got to showcase your expertise to increase your influence. And then the very last thing is to go ahead and tell your story. Allow us to get to know you and connect with you as a human being. So tap into your story, document the process, show us that you are a human being and what you're going through. And that is not a bad thing going through, but like your process is how you think about things and your thought leadership that will allow you also to increase your influence, because people will start to become just not even a raving fan of your company, but a raving fan of you. Get on in here, right? And once again, if you're listening to this podcast at a later date, still go to BlackWomanCEOLive.com, because then you can come on into the next one. So this is Quanisha Green signing off. And I want to leave you with our motto that power is the ability to create your reality. So go forth and be powerful, sister. And I'll talk to you soon. Oh girl, the episode stopped, but the party is not over. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, like, and rate this show. Leave us a comment sharing your takeaways. And when you're done with that, come on over to BlackWomanCEO.com, join our movement. And when you do that, you'll get the special invitation to join us in our community. Well, I would love to put a face to that name, girl. So this is Quanisha signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace and love.